So as far as, different calciums, one of the first things that I want to put out there that, like with osteoporosis, osteopenia, calcium is so heavily hit on, and you've heard me hit on this other thing a lot, but vitamin D is really essential for that as well. And even more common for people to be deficient in that versus calcium. Peggy, if you don't mind, what location are you in? California? You could probably go on the lower end, like, in the Midwest region, Northeast region, those sorts of things. I always say November to May, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 IUs per day, depending on that conversation with your practitioner. So that's a standard from November to May because the sun can't synthesize what you need in vitamin D, is 5,000 IUs per day. With you being in California, you probably could be okay with around 2,000 IUs per day of vitamin D. But to be safe, I'm a huge fan of blood work. Do we require it to get started in this program? No. Do I like it for after? So then you can kind of follow along, if you will, with where you're at and where you're going, or in other words, track your trends. Yes, I like that. I actually think blood work should be a primary part of our preventative care, if you will, as well. Checking in, but the fear that people have is they don't necessarily know what to do with their blood work after it's read. And that's where we can help you with that eventually as well. That said, if you're in the primary HHA phases, phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's not necessary. But the reason I mention it is because vitamin D is a very simple, easy lab that you can go get and ask your physician for. As far as the calcium itself, there's a variety of different calciums. Calcium citrate, calcium carbonate, calcium, the list goes on and on and on. So a blend is nice. If you get real particular with any particular one nutrient, it's kind of like essential fatty acids, EPA, DHA, cod liver oil, krill, there's a variety of different things. Same thing with probiotics. Okay. We're talking about kind of the same thing here. There's all kinds of different strands. Okay. So the way that I like to approach it is to vary it. So you rotate it essentially, right? So your calcium, the variety of different calciums that you can take, if you were taking one before you started taking, the supplements that we're giving you, and it's different, in my opinion, that's good, because a lot of times people will take one and they read from their mother, sister, brother, talking head online somewhere that this was the one that was going to, address their particular issue. But in reality, the body is dynamic and it's got different things that it requires for proper absorption. So I think rotating, and I like to rotate on the quarter, so every 3 months, right? So you can consider rotating like your calcium, every 3 months. Same thing with your probiotics, and same thing with the levels of your like EPA, DHA, or fish oils, essential fatty acids. So that's my approach because it's more foundational and is the way that I look at that. But the vitamin D is the component that a lot of people are missing when they're taking calcium specifically. So if there's any other approaches that any of the other practitioners take, I'm all ears and open to that conversation as well. But I like the rotation approach because then you're not getting, let's say, the same strand of probiotic over and over and over and over and over and running the risk of it overgrowing, right? You're not getting the same amount of EPA or DHA from your essential fatty acids and your fish oils and those sorts of things, not the same amount. The underlying concept is adaptability. Okay. So the more adaptable an individual, the healthier they are. And you want to teach your body to be adaptable